Conflict is part of everyone's life. Even more so, I suppose, if you are in the armed forces safeguarding the nation's security. You probably have to make tough decisions, make some tough choices. Please share a story or two that illustrates the 5 conflict management techniques.
Thank you, Prasanna. Thank you. The armed forces in entirety is not looking at, not serving in such terrain or such situation or areas where there is so much of conflict which will result into such dangerous situations leading to death. So that is actually too extreme that we are looking at. Conflict is primarily differences in opinion. Now, this differences in opinion comes about when there is a difference in the expectation between two individuals, expectations of two or more individuals from a particular situation. So, one way is not to expect so much from anything and be happy with what you have, be happy with what you get, and be happy with the outcome of your effort and all those things. That is probably what is compromising, which is there in the graph that you got. Not going into that, you wanted me to talk of emotional resilience that a soldier generally has, which is why we are safe inside the country. That is how our kids go to school, women go shopping or go working somewhere. We commute from one place to another, or we keep fighting between each other because there is somebody guarding the border always. And yes, it is a little difficult. Emotionally, sometimes it drains out because loneliness by itself is a difficult thing to be in. Loneliness means too many thoughts that come in. And when thoughts come in, that could be personal issues which back home one's family is facing, or one's family is being troubled by somebody else, because an average soldier, his family, there are a lot of issues that the family members face when they are alone, like what the soldier is facing there on the border alone. So I would actually credit more to the members of the soldier's family back home. The resilience is actually there. The breadwinner is there somewhere else facing dangerous situations of life, and if that soldier is to be peaceful and doing his duty with full concentration, he cannot be bothered by family issues like the admission of children not happening. A simple thing like olden times telephone connection we are not getting. Electrical, with very great difficulty they build a small house with 1.5 rooms and the electrical connection not happening because people demand various things. Whereas back home your parents or your spouse doesn't know, not much literate people, villages, mostly villages. These are the conflicting situations of soldiers. We are here to look at something a little different, that is, in one's profession, in any company, in any occasion, in whatever position one is, what kind of a conflict we face and how do we resolve it. But I thought I must, now I will mention one particular, you asked for an example. When the Kargil conflict was on, I was in a post called Uri. Now, of course, everybody knows what is Uri. Uri is a small post. During Kargil, I was there in that thing, and whenever such operations begin, whenever such incidents take place, we send our last will to our homes. I have sent my last will 4 times because 4 times there were something or the other. People doubted whether I'll be back home in one piece or not. So this particular will I sent, and I got back that Archie's card which said, "All the best, do not worry about us, go ahead, do your job and come back victorious." That was signed by all members of my family, that card, during Kargil war. Now you see resilience. Is the resilience more with me here or there with the members of my family, my wife, my children? We will come down to the major techniques that have been advocated for managing conflict. There are two aspects to conflict management. The first one is assertiveness and the other one is cooperativeness. How assertive an individual is in one of the axes and how cooperative is this person on the other axis, x and y. If you see at point 0, 0, what happens is you are neither assertive nor cooperative. Basically what you are doing is you are avoiding the conflict. You are neither assertive nor cooperative, you are avoiding the conflict. That is 0, 0. So you come to 0, 9, you are more assertive. You are more assertive, which means you are full throttle into competitive mode. You are not giving in to any kind of a bargain, any kind of a negotiation. You are not budging. Total assertiveness, 0, 9. That is on the vertical axis. Now come here, 0, 9. This fellow is most accommodating. Cooperation is here, 9. And assertiveness here is 0. Assertiveness 0 and cooperation 9 is this gentleman who is most accommodating. There is no problem at all. And in life, everybody reaches this stage of accommodation. I will come to this later. The best fellow is 9, 9, who collaborates with people. This person at 9, 9 knows how to collaborate. He is capable of studying the problem at hand. He is capable of studying the people involved. He is capable of reading the future as to where any discussion is leading him to. And accordingly, this gentleman knows when to do what. Collaboration. 9, 9. Now this middle road manager, 5, 5, is someone who is that compromising type. When there is a conflict, he gives in something, give and take, and he manages to take something. So that is 5, 5 kind of an approach. This is when one or two individuals are concerned or one or two teams, parties are concerned, where there is a conflicting situation to be resolved. This will happen mostly in businesses, this will happen mostly in teams. This you can see in a variety of groups doing some similar task or different task with the aim or objective being the outcome being similar, which is to be achieved by all others. So this is these are the 5 things that are the strategies which can be adopted in a professional setting. Now let me get back to the armed forces way of achieving a goal or an aim, and you can probably relate it to the corporate world outside. Like a manager in the corporation or any industry, we have a commander at various levels, managers at various levels. The commander has a task to be done. He calls his subordinate commanders. There is a meeting where there is a brainstorming session going on, which is, we call it war gaming, where we study the eventualities that can happen when you are conducting some operation of war. This war gaming can be brainstorming in the corporate world, or even they have a battle room nowadays. Now here what happens between the commander and the subordinate commanders, there is an open heart discussion where I as a subordinate commander have the leeway, I have the choice, I have the freedom to give everything that comes to your mind, comes to my mind as my approach to resolve the problem, to achieve the aim. Similarly, there are 4 more people who are my peer group, commanders, who submit his or her plans to the higher ups. Now all these things take place, wargaming happens and outcomes are seen, the courses of action that are available studied, the resources available are also kept in mind, and then an order is issued. That's called operation order. Here whatever is issued, there is here also it is an order, but you can say it is instruction or it is coordinating whatever things, but then it is same. Commander gives orders, similarly the manager here also gives his opinion or his decision. In my case, what happens is when the commander gives out his operational orders, he has considered all the opinions, he has considered every subordinate commander's plans, and then he has decided upon one course of action, and he is responsible for the outcome of that course of action that he has adopted. And once I as a subordinate commander receive the orders, even if that order is diametrically opposite to what I proposed, I am duty bound to carry out these orders that were finally passed as if they were my suggestions to the commander, as if that is my plan of action. I forget what I proposed because this is what the commander desires. Therefore, the self becomes secondary. Myself becomes secondary, my team, my company, my regiment, my whatever, that becomes primary. This is the spirit with which each one of us in the armed forces work. One part. The other important aspect why there is no now this is a routine set, it is, they cannot change everywhere, right, all levels it is the same, whatever commander has told we will carry out. The second part is these orders that have been given to me, I have to ensure that it trickles down to the last man. You can imagine very wide terrain which is hundreds of kilometers, and every instruction goes down like this. It is something, it's a marvel to see how communications are passed down to the last man standing on the ground with one weapon looking at this area of responsibility. Now, when it comes to resolving conflict, when you are attempting a resolution, somehow, whatever role you are playing, there are three things that can happen. One is both the parties lose. They lose honorably, let there be a good fight, but even if they both are losing, that's because of somebody who is adamant, or both of them being adamant. You can't help it. Both of them are competing. It reaches a breaking point and nothing happens. The other thing that can happen while resolving some conflict is one party wins, the other party loses. There again depends upon the strength of the case. With these two parties, one will win and the other will lose. Even then, when people know the bigger picture that this is what is going to happen, that should not create any hard feelings between the players involved. This is typical in any games or sports. We give our best and we don't really worry about losing or winning. We should participate in the best possible manner, contribute. The other thing is win-win situation where both the parties gain out of a conflicting situation. Very recently I was talking to one of my friends who's living in an apartment complex where there are several issues, social issues. There is one party which does not want this to happen, the other party wants this to happen, and a third party wants something else to happen, a fourth party. So multiple issues were raised, and luckily there was one person who was very stable, senior gentleman, elderly gentleman, and they were a couple basically, and luckily because both the lady and this gentleman were there, they could handle all these multiple conflicting parties together. They gave a patient hearing and somehow resolved issues through give and take. They played the role of an arbitrator, and that give and take was probably compromising. I said, okay, I'll come this much and you come this much and we'll meet. So that is that 5-5 path. But then the best is when you are able to collaborate here, when you are able to collaborate at 9-9, where you wholeheartedly support each other. Wholeheartedly support each other. That is what is the desired outcome of winning companies, winning teams. Teams win when they have this understanding of 9 here and 9 here. And finally, what is important is for us to ask questions when we are faced with an issue. It is always good, advisable to ask questions as to so what. A particular thing has happened, say so what. So what? If you do this, these are A, B, C, that will happen. So if you want A, B, C not to happen, you are supposed to do this. And if I do this, what will happen? So what will happen? So ultimately you will reach a stage where you will get the desired result when you keep cutting off the other courses of action that come to your mind. Say you are supposed to be giving a very simple example is, I have to make a presentation about the new project tomorrow. There is no time. Today it is 9 o'clock in the morning and tomorrow morning 9 o'clock you are supposed to give a presentation. At the same time, you are not well, you need a little rest, you are not in your full form. At the same time, there is someone at home who needs your attention because that someone is also involved in some project preparation where the deadline is today evening itself. So here your task is something to be done tomorrow morning, by tomorrow morning. You are yourself unwell, not in your full form, and there is someone else in your family whose deadline is today evening, who is actually looking for help from you. And so what do? So what? What? The issues are courses of action. What are the actions available? One, you forget about your health, you just go there and do all that you can to help that gentleman at your place, that lady at your place, and let that person finish the work by this evening. That is course 1. So if that is there, so what next? You have resolved that, but you have actually drained out yourself completely. Now you are off to sleep. Tomorrow morning you can do nothing. You cut a sorry figure. You are not able to do the presentation in the project. So what? So what? You ask your manager, tell him that or her that this is the present condition and postpone it to another day. Now the worst case scenario is no, it has to happen because there is some larger interest of the industry. So what? So look at your colleagues, seek help and have some medicine and do the whole night something, and then after the presentation go relax, hit the bed and sleep like a log, or recuperate that is. So there is a very small little conflict individual where again small little tools have been used. By asking this question, so what, you can find some answers. Thank you.